James Collins stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station, gazing out at the Thalaxian vessel that had just arrived in Earth's orbit. The sleek, silver craft, unlike anything humanity had ever seen, hovered silently against the backdrop of the Earth below. James adjusted his suit, the emblem of the United Earth Council emblazoned on his chest, and took a deep breath. Today was a momentous occasion, one that would be etched in the annals of history. The docking procedure went smoothly, and soon James found himself face to face with Ambassador Zaltor. The Thalaxian was tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like polished stone. His eyes, devoid of pupils, seemed to study James with a mix of curiosity and caution. "Welcome, Ambassador Zaltor," James said, extending his hand. The Thalaxian hesitated before mimicking the gesture. "I am James Collins, your liaison for this cultural exchange." Zaltor inclined his head. "Thank you, James Collins. I am eager to understand your species better." As they walked through the station, James gave a brief overview of human achievements and advancements. Zaltor listened intently, occasionally asking questions that revealed his lack of understanding about human emotions and social constructs. "Your species engages in mating for pleasure?" Zaltor asked, his tone tinged with incredulity. James chuckled. "Yes, Ambassador. For humans, it's not just about reproduction. It's an expression of love, intimacy, and connection." Zaltor's brow furrowed. "Fascinating. This concept is alien to us. On Thalaxia, reproduction is a purely mechanical process, devoid of emotion." James nodded, trying to imagine such a sterile existence. "Well, you'll have plenty of opportunities to learn about our ways. We have arranged a series of cultural exchanges that will hopefully bridge our understanding." Their tour concluded at the station's main conference room, where a group of scientists and diplomats awaited. James introduced his team, each member eager to contribute to this historic meeting. Dr. Maria Santos, a leading psychologist, began the session with a presentation on human relationships and emotional bonds. She spoke passionately about the importance of love, family, and community in human society. The Thalaxians, including Zaltor, watched with rapt attention, their expressions inscrutable. "These emotional connections are vital to our well-being," Dr. Santos explained. "They shape our behaviors, influence our decisions, and enrich our lives in countless ways." Zaltor leaned forward, his interest piqued. "And this pleasure you speak of, it is a significant part of your bonding process?" "Absolutely," Dr. Santos replied. "It's a fundamental aspect of human intimacy." The Thalaxians exchanged glances, their murmurs barely audible. It was clear that this revelation had a profound impact on them. The session continued with more discussions, each topic unveiling another layer of human complexity that the Thalaxians struggled to comprehend. As the meeting progressed, James noticed a growing tension among the Thalaxians. Their questions became more pointed, their tone more skeptical. He realized that this cultural divide was wider than he had anticipated. "Ambassador Zaltor," James said, addressing the Thalaxian leader directly, "we understand that our ways are different from yours. This exchange is not just about us explaining our culture, but also about learning from you. What aspects of your society do you think we should know more about?" Zaltor seemed to appreciate the gesture. "Our society values efficiency and order above all. Emotions are considered distractions that hinder progress. We have eliminated them to ensure our species' survival and advancement." James nodded thoughtfully. "I see. Perhaps we can find a middle ground, a way to learn from each other's strengths." The conversation continued, delving into the intricacies of both human and Thalaxian cultures. Despite the initial friction, there were moments of mutual respect and understanding. The Thalaxians were particularly intrigued by humanity's ability to thrive on such a chaotic and emotionally driven planet. As the session drew to a close, James felt a sense of cautious optimism. There was still a long way to go, but this was a start. He escorted the Thalaxians to their quarters, ensuring they had everything they needed. "Thank you, James Collins," Zaltor said as they parted ways. "This has been enlightening." James smiled. I'm glad to hear that, Ambassador. We have much to learn from each other. That night, as James reviewed the day's events, he couldn't shake the feeling that this exchange would lead to something far greater than anyone had anticipated. The Thalaxians' reaction to human emotions was just the beginning of a journey that could redefine both species' understanding of life and existence. James Collins watched as the Thalaxian delegation settled into their quarters aboard the International Space Station. The sleek, minimalist design of the Thalaxian ship contrasted sharply with the utilitarian aesthetic of the station. James felt a mixture of pride and anxiety as he prepared for the first day of the cultural exchange. Dr. Maria Santos had organized a detailed agenda, starting with an in-depth session on human emotional bonds. The Thalaxians, led by Ambassador Zaltor, appeared eager yet wary as they filed into the conference room. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. "Good morning, everyone," Dr. Santos began, her voice steady. "Today, we will explore the intricacies of human relationships and emotions. This will be an immersive experience, allowing our guests to understand the depth of human connection." James observed Zaltor closely. The Thalaxian ambassador maintained a calm demeanor, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of curiosity. As Dr. Santos detailed the nuances of human intimacy, Zaltor and his team took meticulous notes. "Our species forms bonds that go beyond mere survival and reproduction," Dr. Santos explained. "These connections are integral to our social fabric, influencing our decisions, behaviors, and even our health." A Thalaxian scientist named Valen raised a slender hand. "Dr. Santos, could you elaborate on how these emotional bonds impact human health?" "Certainly," she replied. "Studies have shown that strong social connections can enhance mental and physical well-being, reducing stress and increasing longevity. Conversely, isolation and loneliness can have detrimental effects." The Thalaxians exchanged puzzled glances. For a species that had eliminated emotions to focus on efficiency, the concept of emotional well-being was foreign. James sensed a growing tension in the room. "Ambassador Zaltor," James interjected, hoping to bridge the gap. "Perhaps you could share some insights into Thalaxian societal structures. How do you ensure cohesion and cooperation without emotional bonds?" Zaltor stood, his posture elegant yet imposing. "On Thalaxia, we prioritize logic and efficiency. Our societal cohesion is maintained through a strict adherence to protocol and duty. Emotions are viewed as distractions that hinder progress." James nodded thoughtfully. "I see. It's fascinating how our species have developed such different approaches to achieving unity and advancement." The discussion continued, delving deeper into the philosophical differences between humans and Thalaxians. Despite the initial friction, there were moments of mutual respect and understanding. The Thalaxians were particularly intrigued by humanity's resilience and adaptability. As the session drew to a close, Dr. Santos introduced a series of interactive exercises designed to help the Thalaxians experience human emotions firsthand. James was both excited and apprehensive about this part of the program. The first exercise involved watching a series of human interactions, ranging from joyous celebrations to moments of grief. The Thalaxians observed in silence, their expressions inscrutable. James hoped these vignettes would convey the profound impact of emotions on human lives. Next, they participated in a trust-building activity. Humans and Thalaxians paired up, each tasked with guiding their blindfolded partner through a simple obstacle course. The room buzzed with nervous laughter and tentative instructions. James partnered with Zaltor. Guiding the tall Thalaxian through the course, he realized how essential trust was to human relationships. "Trust is the foundation of many of our connections," he explained as they navigated the obstacles. "It's about relying on each other, even when we're vulnerable." Zaltor's voice was calm but reflective. "This exercise is illuminating. It shows the importance of cooperation, even without the presence of emotions." By the end of the exercise, the room had transformed. The initial tension had given way to a tentative camaraderie. James felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this exchange could indeed bridge the vast chasm between their species. Just as they were wrapping up, A loud alarm blared through the station. Lights flashed, and a synthesized voice announced an emergency. Attention, all personnel. A malfunction has been detected in the environmental control system. Evacuate to designated safe zones immediately. Panic surged through the room. The Thalaxians looked alarmed, their usual composure shattered. James quickly took charge, directing everyone to the nearest safe zone. Stay calm, everyone. Follow the emergency protocols, he commanded, his voice steady. As they made their way through the corridors, James noticed Zaltor struggling to maintain his usual calm. The Thalaxian ambassador's eyes darted around, betraying his unease. Ambassador, we'll get through this, James assured him. Just stay close. They reached the safe zone, where the station's crew was already working to resolve the issue. James watched as the Thalaxians huddled together, their earlier skepticism replaced by genuine fear. He realized that this crisis might be an unexpected opportunity for both species to learn from each other. The alarm continued to blare as James led the Thalaxians to the designated safe zone. The normally composed Thalaxian delegation was visibly shaken, their alien features reflecting genuine concern. Zaltor remained close to James, his usual calm replaced by a look of apprehension. We need to understand the source of the malfunction, James said, directing his team. Stay together and follow the protocols. The crew swiftly moved into action, securing the area and initiating diagnostic procedures. Dr. Maria Santos joined them, her face a mask of determination as she coordinated the emergency response. Inside the safe zone, the atmosphere was tense. The Thalaxians, unused to such disruptions, huddled together, their expressions a mix of confusion and fear. James took a moment to address them, hoping to provide some reassurance. Ambassador Zaltor, we are working to resolve the issue, he said. Our engineers are highly skilled, and we have faced similar situations before. Please remain calm. Zaltor nodded, though his worry was evident. This experience is quite unsettling for us. Our systems are designed to prevent such malfunctions. I understand, James replied. We will keep you informed as we make progress. Meanwhile, in the control room, Chief Engineer Liam Hayes was working tirelessly to pinpoint the problem. His fingers flew over the console, analyzing data streams and system readouts. We've identified the issue, Liam announced. There's a fault in the environmental control system. It's causing fluctuations in the oxygen levels. James relayed the information to the Thalaxians, ensuring they understood the nature of the problem. We are implementing a temporary fix to stabilize the system. It will take some time, but we have everything under control. As the crew worked to stabilize the environment, James saw an opportunity to further the cultural exchange. He approached Zaltor and suggested a joint effort to resolve the crisis. Ambassador, would your engineers be willing to assist us? James asked. Your advanced technology and expertise could be invaluable. Zaltor considered the request before agreeing. Very well, James Collins. We will help. Perhaps this cooperation will strengthen our understanding of each other. Thalaxian engineers joined the human crew, their advanced tools and techniques complementing human ingenuity. The collaboration was seamless, with both sides learning from each other's methods. During the repairs, James observed the interactions between the humans and Thalaxians. There was a growing sense of mutual respect as they worked together, each side contributing to the solution. Hours passed, and the combined efforts began to show results. The environmental control system stabilized, and the alarm finally ceased. A collective sigh of relief echoed through the station. James turned to Zaltor, a smile of gratitude on his face. Thank you, Ambassador. Your assistance was crucial. Zaltor inclined his head. It seems there is much we can learn from each other. This experience has been enlightening. With the crisis averted, the focus shifted back to the cultural exchange. James and Dr. Santos organized a debriefing session, where both sides shared their experiences and insights from the emergency. This incident has highlighted the importance of collaboration, Dr. Santos said. It has shown us that despite our differences, we can work together towards a common goal. The Thalaxians expressed their appreciation for the human response to the crisis. Valen, the Thalaxian scientist, spoke up. Your ability to remain calm and focused under pressure is impressive. We have much to learn from your resilience. James saw this as a turning point in their relationship. The initial skepticism and cultural barriers were beginning to erode, replaced by a growing sense of camaraderie. As the debriefing concluded, James addressed the group. Today, we faced a challenge together and emerged stronger. This is the essence of our cultural exchange: to understand, to learn, and to grow together. The International Space Station bustled with activity as preparations for the joint cultural festival reached their climax. Human and Thalaxian crews worked side by side, transforming the station's main hall into a vibrant display of both civilizations' achievements and traditions. James Collins stood at the center of it all, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment and anticipation. Ambassador Zaltor approached James, his demeanor more relaxed than it had been since their arrival. James Collins, I must admit, this festival idea is quite innovative. It provides a unique opportunity for our species to bond in a way that pure diplomacy cannot achieve. Thank you, Ambassador, James replied with a smile. I'm glad you think so. I believe that experiencing each other's cultures firsthand will foster a deeper understanding and appreciation between us. The festival commenced with an opening ceremony, featuring speeches from both human and Thalaxian leaders. James watched as Zaltor took the stage, addressing the diverse audience with an eloquence that reflected his growing respect for humanity. We stand here today not as separate entities, but as partners in a shared journey, Zaltor began. This festival symbolizes the beginning of a new chapter in our relations, one built on mutual respect and cooperation. As the speeches concluded, the hall erupted in applause. The festivities began in earnest, with exhibits showcasing the art, music, and culinary delights of both worlds. James marveled at the intricate Thalaxian sculptures, each one a testament to their advanced technology and artistic precision. Dr. Maria Santos joined him, holding a plate of Thalaxian delicacies. These are surprisingly good, she remarked, offering James a taste. It's fascinating how different yet similar our cultures can be. James nodded, savoring the unfamiliar flavors. It's a reminder that despite our differences, we share a fundamental connection. This festival is a perfect example of that. Throughout the event, James noticed the interactions between humans and Thalaxians becoming increasingly natural and friendly. The initial barriers of misunderstanding and skepticism were giving way to genuine curiosity and camaraderie. One of the highlights of the festival was a dance performance by a mixed group of human and Thalaxian performers. The fusion of human rhythm and Thalaxian grace captivated the audience, drawing enthusiastic applause and cheers. As the day progressed, James found himself in deep conversation with Valen, the Thalaxian scientist who had been particularly skeptical of human emotions. This festival has been illuminating, Valen admitted. I see now that there is much more to your species than I initially understood. That's the goal, James replied. To learn from each other and grow together. Our differences are what make this exchange so valuable. The festival reached its climax with a joint declaration of continued cooperation and exploration. Zaltor and James signed a ceremonial document, committing both species to a future of shared knowledge and mutual support. As the ceremony concluded, a sudden announcement drew everyone's attention. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special surprise. The Thalaxians have prepared a gift for humanity. A Thalaxian engineer stepped forward, revealing a small, gleaming device. This is a harmonization module, he explained. It enhances communication and emotional understanding between different species. We believe it will be a valuable tool in our ongoing interactions. The gift was met with awe and gratitude. James accepted it on behalf of humanity, his mind racing with the possibilities it represented. Thank you, Ambassador Zaltor. This gesture means more than words can express. Zaltor smiled, a rare but genuine expression. Consider it a symbol of our commitment to this new partnership. As the festival drew to a close, James took a moment to reflect on the journey they had undertaken. The initial misunderstandings and challenges now seemed like distant memories, replaced by a sense of optimism and unity. Later that evening, as the station settled into a quieter rhythm, James found himself alone with Zaltor. They stood by a viewport, gazing out at the stars. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" James mused. "There's so much more for us to discover and achieve together." "Indeed," Zaltor agreed. "Our journey is only starting. There will be challenges ahead, but I believe we are prepared to face them together." James extended his hand, and Zaltor clasped it firmly. "To a future of collaboration and understanding. To a future of endless possibilities," Zaltor echoed.